Hey, it's Pierce Brunson, and this is Shoot Review. This is going to be my fourth one on sports photography in low light. The big thing is that this is a process for me, and we'll get into that and let you know some of the new settings that I have. But first, if you could like our page, Modern Photography Group, here on YouTube, and then swing on over to Modern Photography Group on Facebook. Also, if you're on Instagram, we have a Modern Photography Group there, modern.photography.group. We also have Pierce Brunson Photography, Firefly Event Photography, and also Modern Tassel Photography, and we are located in the Tampa Bay area. So let's get into it now. So all my settings from before in video 3, I believe, which has been a pretty popular video in terms of responses. But again, my process to this and taking pictures in sports. So I'm 12 games in this season of this practice and this process. So the new settings that I have, which I've been really high on the ISO and keeping it at 7.1. And one of my reasons is when people were coming around the corner and getting close in proximity, I was really losing the person trying to pull their flag. With some adjustments on that, I was able to drop it back to, let me check with my camera here. 5.0. I was in between 5.0 and 5.6. 4.0, when they were getting in a little close, was blowing them out a little much for me, for my personal taste. Although it would have let more light in, which is fine. But I was at 5.0, and I had a real comfort level shooting an entire game. Well, almost an entire game. It started to rain. In that particular setting. Now, at the field that I was at, it had, where the lights were falling, it had two hot spots at about the 20-ish to the end zone on both sides, and literally it was really, really dark in the center of the field. Now, of course, when you're kind of watching the game, you don't notice that, but the camera really picked it up, and the camera wanted, to push more ISO. So as I did, and I got up to, but my ISO was relatively low for what I was processing and what I was shooting. So I was at about 10,000, maybe a little bit higher sometimes. But again, this is the 6D, so I think that the 6D can really, really push in low light. And so that's pretty much why I decided to take it out and give it a whirl. Still using the 70 by 200 lens on this thing, but I found a good comfort in the 5.0 on the aperture and the 400 on the shutter speed. I wanted to push the 500 get some stop motion toward the side for the quarterbacks, but I couldn't do that with this at 5.0 and at the 8 to 10,000 range. But I did get some good shots or earlier in the game, but it was also a little bit lighter earlier in the game. Didn't get to where it was really, really where the sun was all the way down to test out these settings here. So the big thing about the process of capturing sports for us at the high school level, and the sport was flag football in Tampa Bay, was just kind of learning this process and getting to know your camera settings, how they work, what's for you. And these games are perfect for me because they're only an hour. So it's an hour of commitment to go out. It's a great time to not really fiddle with all the settings because they have like 3 or 4 games a week, and you can go out at any time. And not fiddle with the settings, but learn the process and learn what I'm shooting for, how the game continues to move, the evolution of just the coaching and the players in the sport. Because I've coached it before for years, but that was a long time ago. So seeing that and understanding the sport itself also helped to come up with different shots. Another thing I was doing there too, there was another photographer on the other side, and what they did, they moved a lot. So they would move up and down the field. For me, I stayed in one location, so all of my pictures are from a particular angle. I did move up between the 20 and the end zone and then wrap around the back of the end zone, but I stayed at essentially one end of the field because the teams do change sides. So those are a couple of things as this evolution in the sports photography and understanding it gets there. It's districts tonight. I'm not going to go out and shoot, so the season is essentially over in terms of sports shooting this particular sport at night under the high school lights. Most of the stuff they do in the summer is daytime and around and into preseason. So won't be shooting a lot of sports until January of next year, but I'll still keep in mind the settings that I use and continue to work and adjust for those late evening games when the lights are bright here in Tampa Bay. But other than that, in terms of sports, I wanted to get to a fifth video on shooting in the low light itself and my personal experiences with it, and trying to evolve, if you will. But we won't get to that. And hopefully, by this time next year, I'll have a ton of videos. We are setting our schedule to increase from 12 to about 22, 25 games next year, and just connecting with more coaches who did appreciate the images we were taking. So other than that, just keep learning different parts of your camera. Go out and practice. Sometimes it's real easy to just know what settings are and don't know why, and you have to experience like photography, and that's one of the things that I like to do personally is when I have time, because running a business, you're just shooting the same thing, but sometimes it's fun to get out there, practice, learn, evolve, and grow, and figure out how you like to shoot the variety of different things. Okay, so it's not just about learning the settings, but it's learning the flow of the game. It's learning all the different attributes and of the sport that you're shooting, and then you can maybe apply this knowledge to other sports as you move on. No, I won't be doing indoor sports. That was a question too. Will I shoot indoor sports? No, I just like the flag football, and it's just a fun release for me. So for me to just get out there and learn this process of sport photography. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll have some other videos coming up. We just finished our couple of proms, and we're going into there. So check us out again on on Facebook, Modern Photography Group. Check us over there for some of our portrait prom stuff that we did. Also, check us out on Firefly Event Photography. That's on Instagram. Pierce Brunson Photography. That's PIERCEBRUNSON Photography on Instagram. Also in Modern Tassel, because we're moving into the graduation time here, and so we'll be taking a few events with that. So as always, keep shooting. If you have any questions, leave them below, and I'll give you the best to answer them based on my experience. But other than that, look forward to seeing you, and we'll make a video about something else soon. All right, this is Shoot Review Sports number 4 in low light.